Hello everyone, welcome to my channel where we talk about mangas and sometimes books. As for today's video, I have the reading log for the months of December and January. So in the month of December I read like a little bit, but in January I only read two manga, and that's why I decided to add both months in one video. So yeah, without any further ado, let's get started. I'm going to start off with December and then the new year. So in December I read the first volume of Lovesick Ellie. I also read the second volume, the third, the fourth one, and last I read the fifth volume. So for those who don't know what Lovesick Ellie is about, we follow this girl who's, for the sake of this video, I'm going to call her Ellie, and the love interest whose name is Omi. So Omi, like in every shoujo manga, he is the most popular guy, he's the most handsome guy in the school, and Ellie, just like everyone else, has a crush on Omi, and he is considered like the prince of this school. The thing is, one day Ellie, as you can see here, catches Omi being like really sassy and really mean and like expressing himself really bad about the girls who are attracted to him, and so she like runs away and she cannot believe what she just heard. But the thing is, Ellie has a secret, and that is that she has like somewhat of a Twitter account where Ellie treats this account as a type of diary, but in this account she writes all about her fantasies that involved Omi. So she's kind of like writing of her and Omi being in a relationship when it's not. Like everything she writes is just like a fantasy. So Ellie is really delulu. So after this incident, Ellie realizes that she lost her phone, and then Omi is the one that finds it, and so he ends up learning about everything Ellie writes about, and that's how they are going to start a somewhat of a friendship, because throughout this series Ellie is going to realize that there is a lot more to Omi than just his good looks. And I really enjoyed reading these first 5 volumes of the story. I feel like they're really entertaining, and I really like Ellie. I feel like I identified with her. Like I feel like we were all once in her place of being really delusional, and I just really like this story so much, and I do plan on continuing with the rest of the manga since I pretty much own every single volume that there is in this series. So if you're looking for a funny, cute shoujo, I definitely recommend this. This series is really funny. You are not going to be bored while reading this series. So yeah, 100% recommend this one. Next up I have ABL, and that is My Beautiful Man, the first volume, and in this one we follow Hira and Hiyoi, and I honestly don't know how to feel about this manga. I feel like it's a bit too early for me to give a precise opinion of this manga, because I only read the first volume, and I think that was all there was out of it when I decided to start reading this series. But yeah, I don't know how to feel. This is ABO, where we follow Kiyo, this guy, let's call him Kiyo. So Kiyo is like really handsome, as you can see here. He's really handsome, he's also really popular. And then we have Hira, who is the complete opposite of Kiyo. He is an introvert. He's really shy, like he's afraid of speaking up and being who he truly is. So mainly he's afraid of speaking up, and he's always like really quiet. So again, the complete opposite of Kiyo. And there's going to be like a unbalance, some sort of relationship, because Kiyo being really popular, he has like a lot of friends, and unlike Hira, who is a really lonely type of guy, like he doesn't have any friends, so he's kind of like running errands for Kiyo and his friends, and that's where the unbalanced thing comes out. So it's a bit of a they kind of bully him, and Kiyo is just kind of like there along with everyone, like following along with his friends. He doesn't necessarily participate in the bullying, but he also doesn't stop it. So Hira falls in love with Kiyo at first sight, and he kind of confesses his feelings for Kiyo, but they are not reciprocated. Is that the word? Basically Kiyo kind of rejects him, but obviously that's not going to stop Hira from continuing with his feelings for Kiyo. And that's pretty much all I got from this first volume. So again, I feel like I need to read maybe the second and third volume to have a more thought out opinion of this manga. But if this story is something that kind of interests you, it was entertaining. I will give it that. It was very entertaining. The art is very pretty, but again, for the story, I just don't know how to feel about it yet. But I do plan to continue with the second volume, and once I have everything figured out, I will come back and let you guys know what I actually think about this manga. Next up, I have Let's Eat Together, Aki and Haru. This seems like a very cute BL manga, and the main focus of this entire series is going to be on the food. So like the title says, we follow Aki and Haru, who are roommates. They are both in college and they live together, and one of them is like really bad at cooking, and then there's Aki, who is in charge of making food for Haru, who is always very busy and doesn't have the time to sit down and like cook for himself. So Aki is in charge of making the food, and throughout this first volume we kind of see how they start to connect, and they have a really good friendship, because of all the food that is involved and how they take each meal together. Like there's never a time where they don't have a meal together, and how they're like going out shopping to get all the ingredients. And yeah, so far I feel like this is going to be a really cute manga. And here we have the food, and we are slowly going to witness how they start to develop feelings for one another. Not very friendly feelings for one another, but yeah. And this is a really short manga, and for the first volume I really did enjoy it, but I feel like I need to get a bit more into the story, because right now they're just a couple of roommates who enjoy eating homemade food, and I really cannot wait to read the second volume. And one thing I really like about this manga is that it kind of gives you the recipes for every like meal that is being cooked in the chapter. So this is chapter 4. At the end of chapter 4, they give you the meal that was cooked in that chapter. I think that was really interesting. But yeah, let's move on to the next one. And last but not least, I read No Love Zone. This is the second volume, and in this volume, okay, before I talk about what happens in this volume, if you don't know what No Love Zone is about, we follow Jukyun and Ukyum. Let me open up this volume. So this is Ikyum. I'm pronouncing that so bad, I know, but Ikyum and what was Ji-hyuk, they were in school together, and Ji-hyuk had a crush on Ikyum, but Ikyum is all about looks, and back then in high school, Ji-hyuk was not the most handsome guy in the classroom, and so when Ji-hyuk confesses his feelings towards Ikyum is like, looks are very important to me, so like, I'm sorry I cannot go out with you. And that kind of like breaks Ji-hyuk's heart. And now in this second volume, we learn that Ikyum kind of confesses his feelings. He confesses his feelings towards Ji-hyuk, who they are now working at the same company. And Ji-hyuk decides to throw the same words that once Ikyum told him, which were, looks are very important to me. And after that, they kind of start like a fight where Ikyum is like, okay, like never mind, like I don't like you. And then Ji-hyuk is like, no, because how could you not like me? You confess your feelings. And there's kind of, in this volume, there's a bit of a push and pull going on, but as we know, they are going to get together eventually, and it's really fun to see how they bicker and how they argue every single time. And yeah, this is a reread for me because I did read this entire series online first, but I am now going to reread and enjoy this series once again when the other volumes come out. So yeah, this is a office romance with a lot of comedy and a lot of banter and bickering and push and pulling, and it's just a very fun time. So if that's something that you want to read, I 100% recommend this. Next up, I have everything I read in January, which is only these 2 volumes. So I didn't read a lot last month, but I did manage to read some really good manga, and the first one is this one, which is a BL, and it's The Genius Puppeteer Loves the Holy Night Fiercely. This is a one-shot, and as it says, we follow a guy who makes puppets, and he kind of saves the knight from another kingdom from being unalive, and he wants to turn the knight into his puppet. So for this being a one shot, I'm going to say it first, the art is absolutely beautiful, so well detailed, and again, for it to be a one-shot volume, the world building and the way everything is explained was absolutely amazing. I feel like this story had the necessary elements for it to be a whole series. Sadly, it's not, but for it to be a one-shot, it's well developed. The story, the characters, everything is very good, and I really did enjoy it. So this puppeteer, who is this guy right here, he kind of announces that he tells this knight that he sees the souls of other people, and that when he saw the knight at the trial that he was having, he saw the soul of the knight, and he saw that it was very bright, very beautiful, and he wanted it to be put into a puppet. Obviously, the knight is going to refuse, and there's going to be a push and pull between these two. And while all of that is happening, we get to learn more about this world and more about the puppeteer and his background story, as well as a bit of the background story of the knight. And yes, I'm not going to say anything more. Just know that this is a very good one-shot read for me, I really did like this story. I like fantasy stories, so this being a fantasy BL, I really did had a good time reading it. And yeah, if you want to read a BL fantasy with like enemies falling in love, I would say, because he is the knight from another kingdom and he is like the puppeteer from the other one, and he's also kind of like the puppeteer is also kind of like involved in the military side of the other kingdom. Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, so if you that's something that interests you, I would definitely recommend this one. And let's move on to the last manga of this video. So the last manga for this video is the worst soulmate ever, and I was correct. When I first bought this, I mentioned that maybe I had read this story before, and yes, I did read this story before online, but I still had a good time rereading it. So in this one we follow, this is an Omega verse, and like I said, Shishikura and Kotani. Okay, so Shishikura is the alpha, Shishikura and Kotani is Shishikura is the Omega and Kotani is the alpha. And these two used to go to school together, high school, and again they did not get along. They didn't like one another for some reason that you're going to learn about while reading this story. And now they have been reunited at work as adults. But before all of this, Shishikura attends the wedding of a friend, and that is where we learn that Shishikura really wants to get married. He wants to get married and have a family and have a kid, but he doesn't have the best of luck in relationships and in love. And we learn that he enters this kind of like dating app for Omegas and Alphas, where this app is going to match you with someone who you are very compatible with. And can you guys guess who he is the most compatible with? Kotani. Yes, so they are going to be forced to work together, and throughout this being forced to work with one another, feelings are going to be developed, and then he is going to learn that they were matched as a like perfect couple in that app. But Kotani and Shishikura are going to absolutely reject that idea. But again, being forced to work with someone you hate, you are going to start to develop feelings for them, whether not hateful feelings anymore. So that's what happens with these two guys in this story. Again, it's an Omega verse. It has a lot of explicit scenes, of course, and it's such a funny read. Yeah, so if you want to have a good time with an Omega verse and just watch two guys bicker and fight all the time, but at the same time they're like developing feelings for one another and they're just doing the dirty every time they meet, I would definitely recommend this one. Again, it does have a lot of explicit content, so beware about that, especially if you don't like mangas that have a lot of explicit content. So with that, we are done with this reading log. So let me know down in the comments below if you have read any of these mangas, or if you plan to read some of the ones I talked about. Also, don't forget to leave a like and consider subscribing if you like this video. And thank you for watching. I will see you all on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.